You're listening to Packers Talk Network.
Packers Talk.
Welcome to the Packers Weekly Podcast, part of PackersTalk.com network. I'm your host, Miles Tuddick, joined by your co-host, Tim Hamilton. We are diehard Packers fans, just love talking about the Pack. We are not getting into all of the national sports media distractions. We're sticking to real football, diving into the top topics around the Pack every week, breaking down games during the season and sorting through all the draft dreams and drama of the offseason. If y'all want to support the pod, please spike that like button for us. Most importantly, jump on over to YouTube, type in Packers Talk Network, and hit subscribe on that channel for us. Doesn't cost you anything, takes you a mere few clicks and a mere few moments, and it means a great deal to us. So we really appreciate all you subscribers, everybody hanging out with us on Monday nights at 9:30, talking Pack. And tonight, we got the cornerbacks, DBs. We're going to maybe throw some safeties into the mix of the talk, but generally, we're going to probably gravitate toward the cornerbacks, see who's coming here for the Packers to the rescue in the draft in just a few days now. And we're going to stick to, again, same theme, right? We're not really focusing at the top of the board. There will be a few names that are not going to be relevant to the Packers because they will be gone, but there's definitely a lot to talk about at the cornerback position where the Packers are picking this year, this draft. So very excited to look at this position, get into it. And then, maybe we'll do a little pick prediction and our traditional annual mock draft. We have not participated in the mock draft mania of draft season. And, we've gathered all of our data and, here we are on the very cusp and the horizon of the draft. And, so why not do a mock draft and see what we think, see what falls to us, see what we can do and solve all the problems for the Packers. But first, as always, we must take care of some business. Our show is once again sponsored by Wisconsin's own Ticket King. For over 30 years, Ticket King has been providing Packers tickets to Packers fans, as well as the Bucks tickets, the Brewers tickets, the Summerfest tickets. If y'all are into hockey, the hockey playoffs are going on. I'm not going to mention those out-of-state teams, but, a couple of us here on this show got a few reps in that going on. So, yeah, all the tickets. But you can find them on the web at theticketking.com or visit their locations in Green Bay and Milwaukee. Remember, support all those local businesses, Wisconsin and otherwise. Tim, good evening, sir. How we doing, man?
Good evening, Miles. I'm doing good. Happy draft week to you.
Happy draft week. It seems like it just sneaks right up, doesn't it? It always feels so far away, and then here it is.
Yeah. I mean, I'm over the talk of everything, and I've seen like 150 players mocked to the Packers at pick 52. It could be anybody. It could be a million different scenarios. Like I'm over that. I'm ready for the draft. But I feel like it actually this year kind of came fast. Like I don't know. I feel like past years it takes forever to get here, the draft, and waiting around. We're going through it all. This year I felt like it's hitting pretty quickly here, which is nice. But I'm ready for it. It should be fun. Going to be interesting Thursday night. Been a long, long time since they didn't have a pick in the first round. So I guess we're just going to sit there and watch what the other teams do, make fun of the Bears and the Vikings and the Lions, and then watch the Packers hopefully have some fun on Friday and Saturday.
Well, I mean, it's there's not a 0% chance that the Packers are drafting on Thursday, right? There's not a 0% chance.
Right. There's not a 0. You never know. It could trade up into the bottom of the first round. I highly doubt it, but it's not 0.
You got to watch to find out. You got to watch to find out. You got to pay attention.
And it's a draft. Enjoy it if you're into it like we are. It's definitely must-see TV. We're going to be sitting there watching it and breaking down what the teams do. It's just going to be a little bit different because there's not going to be any like nervousness or anxiety or anticipation or anything like that Thursday night for the first round. So you can really just have a good time with it. And then Friday and Saturday are going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. No, I do expect the Packers to be moving around. I don't think that they will exit the draft with the same draft picks that they enter the draft with. So who knows if those will be earth-shattering moves or not. We'll find out. But There are going to be a lot of cornerbacks in that range where they're drafting on Friday and Saturday specifically. So we're going to get into some of those guys. Let's see here real quick and transition this little banner of ours. And, this has been the popular position of the offseason, I'd say. Like defensive tackle, D-line, edge rush has gotten a little bit of love. O-line always gets a little bit of love. Seems like cornerback, primarily cornerback, maybe, not really safety. We're pretty deep at safety. Have gotten a lot of attention. And, it's probably taken the energy from the whole receiver in the first round thing that was all pent up. We got all that out. You got Matthew Golden last year. Now that energy's got to go somewhere. It's still there. And I feel like corner has been that. And there's definitely a few names that have gotten a lot of the attention. But Tim, I mean, do you want to kind of swap our names here? Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe the first one that you would bring up, but because it's been so popular, he's been so popular with Packer fans throughout the whole pre-draft process, and that's Chris Johnson. I mean, he was the dream guy for a lot of us, and he's one of my favorite players of the cornerbacks that, like, realistically they could have had a shot at. He would have been the guy, but I think that dream is dead. And not to be, that guy won't be there guy, but he seems to be getting a lot of buzz. Like he might even go in the bottom of the first round. I really think he's going to go in the top 40 picks. So I don't think he's going to get the Green Bay. And I have a feeling he might not get anywhere near Green Bay at 52. So, if he was there on the board, or if they were able to move up a few spots because he was falling, go get him. I would love it. I think he fits everything that they look for, and everything that they need. He would be the home run pick for me. I don't think it's happening now at this point, but I really like him a lot as a player. So kind of, I've moved on from Chris Johnson. I just don't want to see him in the NFC, especially in the division, but he would have been the dream pick. So after that, it kind of, I think there's, and we've talked about this before, but I think there's decent cornerback depth this year. Like, if they don't take one at 52, that's okay, because I think you can take one in the third round at 84, and then I think there's guys on the third day. Like, this is the draft to kind of double up. So I would love to see them get one either, second or third round, and then go back and get another one on Saturday, so that they come out of it with two corners. I think there's, some depth to the position, which is nice. So guys that I like, and I'm going to throw some, I guess I'll start with one. We can go back and forth, but the kid out of Arkansas, Julian Neal, he's got size. He's big, 6'2", a little bit over 200 pounds, ran well, hit the 3-cone that they like. Testing numbers are really good. Played in the SEC at a big school this last season and had a nice year for him. He's got to work on some of his transition movements, running downfield, flipping the hips, stuff like that. Zone recognition needs to improve a little bit, but I think you can get him in the third round. He maybe even in the fourth round, and I think that would be a real nice pick for him. He would add size. I think he would immediately be able to come in and compete for a starting job year one. And if he's not starting from week one of the regular season, at some point, I think he will get a starting job during the 2026 season. So I like him a lot. He checks a lot of the boxes for what they like as far as measurements and all the testing numbers.
Yeah, I actually do like Julian Neal, and I think his name has gained a little bit of momentum even more recently with the mock draft season and all that. And I think as people are sort of coming to the same realization that you are about Chris Johnson, and that's kind of been where my head has been at with him this entire time, is sort of looking at this going like, yeah, I agree, guys. Chris Johnson's pretty stinking good. What makes you think he's going to get to 52? I mean,
yeah,
premier cornerbacks don't last long in the draft. And he really looks like he's on the edge of being one. My knock on Chris Johnson, it's not even really, I can't say a knock, but at least something that maybe presents questions, is he didn't face huge competition, so I would wonder how he does with better competition. But that's not enough to keep me from drafting him. I think what you see on the field is a lot of ability, a lot of football IQ. that was one of the first things I wrote down. Is he looks like a smart football player. He's also a team captain, which the Packers do weigh that. There's some weight to that. So Chris Johnson is one of those that, yeah, he really just doesn't seem like a guy that's going to be within reach of the Packers. I think that he will get probably drafted late first round, early second round, but would love it, right? Would definitely love to see Chris Johnson. I think that he really seems like he would fit in at least what we know about Gannon's new system, right? So,
I think
yeah.
I was going to say, I think he's as good as some of these corners that everybody's mentioning as first round picks, like locks for the first round. I look at him, I'm like, what do they got over Chris Johnson? Like, I think he's just as good as some of those guys. And, maybe it's like the draft community is kind of late to him and that the NFL people like him a lot more. So that's maybe why the buzz is starting like closer to the draft that he could go in the first round. But yeah, I think he's really good. I think he looks to me like a real solid, like number 2 corner who has the potential to be like your number 1. Like he's not going to be Patrick Surtain or anything like that. Like I'm not projecting that, but like I think he could be a really solid number 2, or if he's your number 1, like it's not going to hurt you. Like he can do that as well. And certainly on the Packers, he'd walk in as their number 1 cornerback based on his talent and ability. Like they draft him, he's their number 1 guy. They wouldn't make him their number 1 guy right away, but it wouldn't be too long. He would be their number 1 corner for sure.
Right. Certainly their highest upside guy. No, and another thing I had on him is, he will let guys run past him, but he's got excellent recovery speed. It almost makes me wonder if it's kind of part of his game that he knows how much leash he can give somebody, to get out there. But yeah, he seems like an excellent player. I'd like to see him against better competition more consistently. I didn't really pay much attention at the Senior Bowl. I think he had a pretty good Senior Bowl, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he did.
I think there was some buzz around him.
Yeah, and it was like he was seeing some better competition, seeing some guys from bigger conferences down there. So I think that helped him a lot.
Yeah. So Chris Johnson, it's hard to really assume he'll be there for the Packers. I guess there's a scenario where he could fall, or they could maybe trade up for him at a certain point. But yeah, that's where, like I said, Julian Neal comes in. Yeah, I'm intrigued by him. He definitely, he is big. He's 6'2", 203. Tall, long, and explosive is what I wrote down. He's got the his speed is kind of it's kind of funny to say average at 4.49, basically a 4.5, 1.5 split on 1.56, 10 split. So he's basically average, but he's not slow, but he's average. His 40 or his vertical though is 40 inches, and his broad is 11.2. So that is explosion. That's above average explosion for sure. So at 6'2" with that kind of explosion, that's somebody that you can do a lot with. And he was only at Arkansas for 1 season, played pretty well in that season, but before that was at Fresno State. So again, I'd kind of like to see like not necessarily what does he do against higher competition, because he played well against better competition going from Fresno State to Arkansas in the SEC. What does he do with better coaching and maybe more consistent in a system? That I think would be really interesting as far as like how he's going to mature and what you're maybe projecting him to be if you're a scout or a GM. And did they bring him in for one of those visits, the 30 visits?
No, I don't believe he was on the list.
Okay. I thought I saw
that. I could be wrong about that, but I don't remember his name sticking out that he came up there.
We can figure it out. But anyway, yeah, so Julian Neal is definitely one that I like and could see the Packers drafting. Maybe not as high as 52, but definitely in the 3rd round. And another one that I liked early on, and the more I watched him, the more I was kind of like sort of getting lukewarm on him is Dalen Everett, the cornerback out of Georgia. He's played a lot of snaps. He's played a lot of football at Georgia. He's part of the 2023 team. And he's not bad, but he just I don't get the feeling that he's got like a real good killer coverage instinct. He's more of like a let catch and tackle kind of guy. And he does do better in zone coverage than man, it appears, which would probably favor Gannon's system. And he excelled pretty well in the run defense. So he's a willing tackler, which is always nice from a corner. But he's a good athlete, right? He's got a 4.38 40, 37 vertical jump. So he's solid as far as athleticism goes. 6'1", 196, almost 200 pounds. He's got good size. So he's one of those guys that you could see Goody being really excited about, but probably not earlier on. I think if you're getting a guy like that, maybe in day 3, you're in good shape, but his athleticism might get him overdrafted. So that was one. I don't know. Did you get to look at Dalen Everett much?
Yeah, I mean, I like him too. He's got size and he tested well and he played at Georgia. So they like all that stuff. Like he fits it all.
Right.
The thing I struggle with him is he a good enough football player? Like he's got the size, he's got the all the athletic thresholds that they look for, but like watching him, he gave up some plays. Like I know he's going against SEC competition and stuff like that, but he gave up a lot of plays too, and which if you're taking him day 3 or even in the 3rd round, okay, he's got development time and he can grow into it, and certainly with the size and the athletic ability he has, like there's development there to work with. But it concerns me some of his awareness on the field wasn't as good, and he got beat at times more than I was expecting when I first started like hearing about him and seeing his size, seeing how he tested at the combine. He wasn't like a lockdown cornerback by any means. Now he wasn't terrible or anything like that, but he's got a long way to go in coverage. But again, like I wouldn't take him in the 2nd round, but like what you're saying, if you could get him day 3, 4th round, or even the 3rd round, I would be fine with that. I think there's a lot to work with, and certainly coming out of Georgia's program. And I know it's a joke because they take so many Georgia guys, but like they develop a lot of NFL players. So
yeah, they do.
Yeah, I think you coach them up, and at least like you're coaching up a guy that has size. So you're not coaching up a small guy, and he has all this athletic ability. He can run, and so you have something to work with there. It just might take a little time. Like he has some development time ahead of him early on, and but if he hits, yeah, he can absolutely be a starting cornerback in the NFL.
Yeah, no, and that's where you start to wonder about the coaching, and what's going to be funny about how scouts evaluate is their coaching goes into that, right? If you're looking at a guy going, man, if he had some good coaching, he'd be better. And then you look at your coaches and go, well, our coaches are pretty good, but, and you might project a guy to be better than somebody else would. But yeah, he's one that he's got the athleticism. He's got the experience. Those are things that the Packers front office definitely seem to like and look for. But I like I said, the more I watched him, the less I got like really excited about it. Like the more I was kind of like, yeah, this is more like a value pick later on down the road. Because I think some of these other DBs, the more I watched them, the more excited I got about them. The more I was kind of like, wow, I'm surprised we haven't really had more buzz about some of these guys. And it's the top of the class isn't super exciting. I mean, you got Mansour Delane seems to be the consensus CB1 in this one out of LSU. Seems good, right? It kind of feels like the same as the receiver position. Like top's good, but you're not just like jacked about it. It's not like, one of those guys that's coming out. We're just like, dang, that guy is just going to be that dude. And usually there's a couple of those, but the guys later on and start looking at them, you're like, you know what? I mean, several of these guys, and another one we talked about briefly before, Brandon Cisse, which I believe is the correct pronunciation. I think before we were going back and forth about how to pronounce his name. Yeah. Out of South Carolina, he's one that the more I watch him, the more I'm like, yes, this I like. And you realize that he's younger. He's only 20 years old right now. Probably will be 21 here soon. So I don't know when his birthday is. But, you watch him, you're like, dang, he's got the tools. He plays well already, but he's young. He's going to grow even more. Yeah, like that's a guy that if you can get near him, I think the Packers taking him at 52 or even trading up from 52 a little bit to get him would be that's a win in my book. That would be a hell of a move. Did you get to watch him at all?
A little bit. And I kind of at first I was like, I don't know. I didn't really like him that much. Like, not that I think he stinks or something like that, but everybody's got him in the second round, kind of right around the range where the Packers are picking. So that could be somebody that they have interest in. But I wasn't that impressed. And the more like I started reading about him from people that I, Dane Brugler and guys like that I trust, and seeing more of him, he kind of grew on me a little bit. And you mentioned that he's younger, so I like that, and he's got a ton of athletic ability. There's a lot of growth that he needs into his game, but he's got some versatility to be an inside-outside corner too, which is, the more you can do. Not that they needed slot right now, but the fact that he's got the versatility is a plus. And just he loves to play man coverage, which they're not going to play a ton of man coverage. So like, how good is he going to be in that transition to zone? But like, if you have that ability to play man, even if you're not playing it a lot, it's obviously very helpful to be able to go and do that. So yeah, I see a really good athlete, but he's raw. But he's grown on me throughout the process. The one and he's big enough, 5'11 3/4 or 5'11 and a half. He's just a little bit on the lighter side. He's right at that 190-pound cutoff. So
Yeah.
do they, how much do they hold that against him? Do they think he can play high, bigger? Was he a couple pounds heavier in college and he just lost the weight so he could run better? I don't know. But that's something that they are obviously are big on that as far as size goes. But yeah, he would be fine with me at 52. I don't like him as much as Chris Johnson or a couple other guys, but he would make sense for sure at 52.
Yeah, just kind of diving deeper. He's also got a really strong run stopping grade. His run stop grade is 89.2. That's an elite run stopper. So he's coming up and he's really making some good tackles. Completion percentage against him is 47.4%. Pretty strong. I like that. Like that a lot. So he's one that, the more I watched him, the more I liked. And I didn't get to dig too deep into, A&M was his worst game. And it looked like they just, he gave up a lot of yards in that game. So I didn't get to go back and see kind of what was the reasoning for that. But, again, he's young. So a young guy making mistakes is to be expected, really. And he only played 1 year at South Carolina. He was at NC State before that. So I'd like to see him in more of a stable environment. I do think that at the young age plus getting into an NFL environment, you're probably going to see a lot of development out of him. And he's already a good player. Yeah. And so another one in this that I think that there's definitely room for kind of, I don't know if debate is the right word, but sort of speculation about where this player ends up. Tre'Dan Stukes. Tre'Dan Stukes is one that earlier on in the process, and he's listed, Dane Brugler's got him listed as a corner. Other people are talking about him as a safety.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this going he seems like a great player for the Packers. I don't know why we would not consider him. Now, a lot of his experience is in that nickel slot position in college. He does have corner reps, although not a ton. But he's more of kind of that rover safety type player. But I watching him, he doesn't seem like a guy who couldn't play the cornerback position. So I wonder how many scouts have him pegged as a corner, especially if Brugler's got him listed as a corner. So he's kind of plugged into these things.
He's got him as a corner, but he has him as a nickel.
A nickel, okay.
Yeah, and that's where I've seen him. I've seen him either at safety or nickel for pretty much everyone. But he's got the size to be an outside corner. He just,
and the athleticism. I actually got to pull that back up.
Yeah, and he played a lot of football, and so he's a little bit older. He's almost 25.
Yes.
But he does have experience at outside corner, at safety, at nickel, at Arizona. So he's been all over.
Right.
He's a fun player. he's got the size, the athletic ability. Like he's a cool player. I just don't know like if he's going to be a nickel or safety. How's he getting on the field in Green Bay, right? Like they have those positions covered as far as starters go. So like they'd have to really be confident he can play outside, and that would scare me if everybody, is projecting him as a nickel or a safety, and you're going to try him outside. Like it feels like it's Nate Hobbs all over again. But like he's a good player. He's a cool player to have. I don't know if the fit's there for Green Bay.
Well, what I saw is another guy that I wrote down, smart football player, good at reading the QB, good at positioning his body against the receiver in contested situations. And his athleticism. So I pulled up his numbers. He's got a 4.33 40, that's pretty fast, and a 1.5 flat 10 split, which is also pretty fast for acceleration. And then he's got a 38-inch vertical and a 10-10 broad. So he's got explosion, he's got speed, he's got size, he's got intelligence. So those are all things that, and you don't know what the interviews are like with these players and how much the Packers know about the person and all that. He's another one that was a captain. So I know those are things that they look for. He definitely seems to have that whole package, and he's not high on the boards. He does look like somebody that would be available at 52, although, and tis the season, right? We're in the fog of war. I heard a murmur that there was a GM that said that they would take Stukes over Caleb Downs. So those are the things you have to kind of raise an eyebrow at and go, is a smoke? What are we talking about here? But Stukes is, I think, a slept-on player right now. And if we go back again to some of his other numbers, 59% completion against him. The passer rating against him is 34.4. Pretty good. Pretty stinking good. 4 interceptions, no touchdowns last season. So just a strong player. You go back and watch him. He's a very solid player, good tackler. He's one of those guys that I feel like the Packers look at that and go, yeah, we would definitely have that player. Let's bring him in here. But yeah, so I wonder why he hasn't been talked about more. When we look at the beast from Brugler, he's down there at his number 8 cornerback, right behind Brandon Cisse, by the way. But he's one that I think would be a great addition. And I don't know, again, we don't know a whole lot about Gannon's defense coming in. We know a little bit. We got a little bit of data to go off of. But yeah, I'm very interested in this player and would love to see them draft him. But it's one of those kind of in Goody we trust. If they overlook him and decide not to, it's like, well, you know what's best for you. But he hasn't been talked about much. So I wanted to make sure we got a little bit more of Tre'Davious Stukes here. The Packers Twitterverse has really not dug into this one. And then we got a little chatter in the chat here. We got Chris, our casual here, says, do you guys prefer Cisse or Johnson? I think, and Tim, correct me if I'm not speaking for both of us. I think we would prefer Johnson.
Yes.
But you probably don't have a shot at Johnson. You probably do have a shot at Cisse. So I'd probably assume we could get Cisse. If I had to predict which one they were more likely to get, I'd go with that. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd much rather have Johnson though. But I think Cisse will be, I don't know if we'll be there at 52, but I think he'll at least be in that range of where they're at. He could be there. But I think Johnson's going to go much earlier than where they're at. I'd rather have Johnson though, but Cisse, not a bad player either. Like, don't be disappointed if they get him.
Yeah, not at all. A lot of upside there. And then, come on, Chris, what are we doing here? It says, don't trust Goot. Miles, come on, man. We got Micah Parsons for our first round pick. Chris, come on, dude. What do you mean? Don't trust Goot. Goody's delivering. All right, he's delivering. And after this draft, we're gonna be toasting to Goody because he's gonna get the whole haul. He's going to trade up into the first round. He's going to get somebody we don't even think about who's going to be the best player in the draft because that's how we operate as fans. Anyway. All right. So back to DBs as we're talking through some of these things. Some other guys that, I don't know, we think probably will be around, could be around, have been talked about. One that actually did go on a 30 visit Will Lee the third out of A&M. This is another guy. He's in that kind of 6'1", 190 range. So as far as weight goes, he's probably just making the cut. And what I didn't watch a ton of film on him, but I did watch a little bit. He actually looks like he plays with the same attitude as Jair. Like there's a lot of Jair movements from this guy, and he does do the either the sword or the seatbelt buckle. I don't know if we ever decided what we know that is. But yeah, he's got a lot of Jair to him, Alexander to his game. He lacks, I think, top end speed. He does look like guys can run by him, but he plays well. He's a smart player. I mean, he's a guy that if you can get him, I don't know if I'd be happy with him at 52,
No,
but if you're looking at third round and beyond, I think you're probably getting a great football player, great value.
yeah, I mean, I would love to have him on day 3. I think that's probably more so where he should go. But yeah, he's interesting because he plays competitively and feisty, and like you watch him, he's trying to attack the ball all the time. But yeah, he's definitely inconsistent. Like if he's giving up plays, he's making some plays, getting his hands on the ball with passes defense, but he's given up a lot of plays too. But yeah, he would be. I'd want somebody else. Like I would hope that he would be the second corner they take, just because I think he's got a lot of work to do to like be in the conversation to be a starter. So I think he's more like a project, but he's got the tools, and it seems like he's got like that cornerback mindset where he's feisty and he's in your face and he's coming for the football, and you got to have that as a corner.
Absolutely, yeah. And so, and he's a little further down on the big board. But if we go back to some of his other numbers, just real quick, looking at it, a 55.2% completion percentage against him in 2025, so that's pretty good. But the passer rating against him is not one that I'm necessarily pumped about. He's got a 108.4 passer rating against him. Did give up 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. So kind of to your point, they're a little inconsistent. Can make some mistakes, but seems like he's got the tools and the attitude that you want to add to the defense. So that's one of those guys you're probably maybe hoping to get a little bit, like you're saying, day 3 type of guy. And then another one, let's see here, that I know came in for a visit is Charles Demings.
Yes, I was going to mention
from Stephen F. Austin. Did you get a chance to take a look at him?
I didn't see much, but I saw he came in for a visit, and kind of I've read about him because of that. He's got good size, and he tested pretty well. Obviously from a smaller school, so I think that's probably part of the reason why they want to meet with him. But I could be wrong. He might have been at the Senior Bowl. He might have got a Senior Bowl invite, but maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Yeah, I mean, I like him. It's a small school thing. I think again, like if you could get him in the 4th round, cool. I would like to have another cornerback before. Like he would be my second cornerback in an ideal, but he's got the size, 6'1", 193, 194 pounds, ran a 4.41. Like that stuff will do. He's got the
very explosive.
Yeah. He did show up and he was at the Senior Bowl, so we know they like Senior Bowl guys, and the fact that he went to the Senior Bowl and was able to compete there and have a good showing. Coming from Stephen F. Austin, that's a good sign. That shows that he can, hang with a bigger class of players, and a higher level of players than what he was getting in college. So, yeah, I like him. I think he's a nice cornerback. I think he checks a lot of the boxes for what they look for, and they like Senior Bowl guys, and they seem to like guys that they bring in for visits. Most of the time, they're not like. Sometimes they are throwing smoke screens, but. He doesn't seem like he has an injury history, so they're not necessarily bringing him up there for an injury concern or medical check or something like that. So I would assume they have pretty good interest in Demings. But yeah, he was a guy I was going to mention too as a potential day 3 guy for him.
Yeah, I'm seeing some others as I just kind of scroll through the Twitterverse here about some chatter on him. Seems like his consensus is right around a 150. So honestly, and again, I haven't watched the film on him. It seems a little high to me for a guy from a small school, but you're drafting for upside if you're going that high, I think, with him. And to point back to his athleticism, he's got a 42-inch vertical and 11-inch broad. Like the dude's got explosion coming out of there. So you might just be projecting the upside there, but that's one. Yeah, he's one that they bring him in. If his consensus is around 150, it's not a UDFA visit. I don't
No,
think
he's going to get drafted.
Yeah,
he's going to get drafted. I think he'd go in the 4th round. And I've seen there's been some talk like maybe even he could go Friday night. That's a little soon, I would think, but I've seen it out there. But certainly 4th round, at the latest 5th round. But I think he'd probably go in the first 4 rounds.
That'll be an interesting one. He is an interesting one. His numbers, they're solid, right? So you got a 48% completion rating or completion percentage against him. You got the passer rating against him is 39.8. He's got 4 interceptions this last season and only 1 touchdown allowed. So I mean, he played well. It looks like a sure tackler too. So solid run defense grade, not elite but solid. The only thing about this is, and again, I'm kind of using some outdated data here from PFF, but it looks like he struggled in zone coverage last season. That sort of goes in the face of what I think we've all been, projecting on Gannon, is that he would prefer zone coverage kind of guys. But somebody coming out of Stephen F. Austin, you may be just looking at a guy and going, we know we can fix these things and he'll be fine, whatever the reason for that is.
Right.
It is worth noting, Houston, it looks like was their biggest competition, and that was one of his worst games. So, that not great, but again, to your point, kind of counters that as his performance at the Senior Bowl probably overrides that. So yeah, that's another one, Charles Demings, and then let's see here.
I got it.
Who else you got? Who else you want to go look at?
Demings was one of those day 3 guys, so I'll give you a couple other day 3 guys that I think are intriguing. The kid from Washington. So Washington has 2 corners that are going to get drafted.
Okay. Mario Davis?
Not him. He's going to get drafted.
Gotcha.
I like the other kid, Prysock, and I'm going to kill his first name, so I'm just going to call him E. Prysock. Yeah, I'm just going to go by his last. I'll learn if they draft him. I'll learn his name.
Of course.
But he's got size. Katario Davis is taller, but Katario Davis is real skinny. Like, I don't know if the Packer fans would get scared because they're going to be reminded that Kevin King came from out of there and he was tall and skinny. But the Packers do, like, if you're a tall corner, you got to have some weight. So, like, it's not just if you're 6'3", you can't just be 190. You got to be 6'3" and like 195 plus. They kind of care about the bulk of it too. So Prysock has that. He's a taller cornerback. He's got some weight to him. He also tested really well. He's got like all the traits like that they're looking for: size, speed. Played in a big conference. They like that. It was a starter for a couple years. I like him. I think he's a really nice developmental player that you could take a shot on day 3. He's got a lot of work to do, right? Like, but you're taking somebody on day 3. They all do. But I think he's intriguing just because of like the traits that he has. And 6'3", 196 pounds at the combine, ran a 4.45. That's pretty good. And his RAS score was like 9+, I believe.
Yeah, 9.74 RAS.
Yeah. So he's an athlete, developmental guy down the road. Another day 3 guy that I think is kind of intriguing. You mentioned Demings, Prysock, or my other ones that I wanted to hear. Oh, Andre Fuller from Toledo. He's going to be. All right. Well, you can talk about. He's going to.
Go for it.
He's going to be like 6th, 7th round later guy, but again, he's got pretty good size. I think he was down there. You saw him at the Shrine Bowl, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And like they have a safety that's going to be drafted in the 1st or 2nd round. They got another cornerback who might get drafted day 3. The kid for the Eagles, whose name I'm forgetting, was just a 1st round pick a couple of years ago out of there. Quinyon Mitchell.
Yes.
Yeah. So Toledo's been developing some DBs apparently, but yeah, he again another bigger size cornerback, which the Packers desperately need, and he can run. He's hits a few of the thresholds that the Packers are looking for. So like a day 3 guy, I think he would be interesting. And then a total like dart throw. He might not even make your team, but maybe you find something in him, and that's Damani Jackson out of Alabama, and he's going to be another like 6th, 7th round pick. But the dude was like a 5-star recruit. He was one of the highest rated players, let alone cornerbacks coming out. And I think he went to USC and then he transferred to Bama. And he just kind of he never really put it all together. And he was kind of like up and down at Bama. And I think he got benched even this past season, but he was also playing through an injury, which probably had something to do with that. I believe he was a track guy too in high school, so he can run and he's got good size and he's, he had the ability to be a 5-star guy. Like there's tools in there. For whatever reason, it never all clicked together in college. But like if you want to bet on traits, and sometimes the Packers like to do that, he's a guy like he's worth a dart throw in the 6th or 7th round just to see if you can find if you can bring those tools out of him that he probably has in there. It's just he hasn't been able to put it together for whatever reason. So he's definitely a developmental guy. But yeah, those were a few of the day 3 guys that I think are interesting and would be guys that the Packers would look at.
Yeah, and you mentioned him, Damani Jackson. He was also down there at the Shrine Bowl. I don't think he played in the Shrine Bowl game. Sometimes they see enough throughout the week that they tell certain guys just to sit down in the game. But yeah, he's one that I kind of was trying to watch a little bit to see because I'd known about the pedigree. And yeah, I mean he's solid. Like he's a solid guy, but I don't know. He didn't jump out at me when we were there. So it'd be interesting to see, but you never know again what these guys are projecting, right? And they may see a guy know what's going on between the ears and say, "Oh yeah, we can turn this guy into something." But yeah, it would be interesting to bring him in. He's got the right size and athleticism. But no, I was just going to mention Andre Fuller. Also, you kind of said what I was going to. Both of the Toledo guys. The other one, where is he? I think it was Avery Smith. Avery Smith, yeah, he's another one who he had a pretty solid Shrine Bowl. He's probably just a little bit undersized. He's like 5'10", 185, but solid guy. Had a solid season last year. Worth watching there, maybe even in the UDFA territory. But yeah, there's a lot of DBs in this draft, and even going deeper in the board, somebody, if you're talking about betting on traits, Lorenzo Styles, Sonny Styles' brother, didn't play great at Ohio State. Had some good games, but was more inconsistent. But an athlete. Let me see if we pull up his numbers. I think he was one of the ones who lit up the combine quite a bit. Lorenzo Styles, RAS. And that's a guy you're talking about, a day 3 guy. You could get, he's got a 9.99 RAS because he ran a 4.27 and, with a 1.49 10 split, he's got a 39-inch vertical. So he's as athletic as you're going to get. Right. So, and he's a 6 foot, 194. So he's definitely in that range of the Packers size that they would take. If that's a guy that you can get, let's see here. Where does PFF have him right now? He's in that 207 range overall. That would be an interesting one. I think, Lorenzo Styles would be super interesting. I didn't watch a lot of film to see why he struggled as much. But as far as the athleticism, the pedigree playing at Ohio State, that one would be fun. I think if you're getting him on day 3, that's a fun one to talk about. How does he fit into this defense? Kind of like Sam Shields, right? I mean, I remember when they picked up Sam Shields as a UDFA, and I was excited about him from day 1 because of his athleticism and his speed and his history as a receiver, thinking that he could be a ball hawk. So that's kind of the same vein here. So just raw athleticism and see what you can mold him into. All right, man. So what other cornerbacks do you think we should be on the lookout for here? Any others?
No, I mean, I think we gave a pretty good list. I know there's the other kid. You mentioned Styles from Ohio State. The other kid from Ohio State, Davison Igbinison. He's however you pronounce it. Taller cornerback, but he's a little thin. He also had some issues, big issues in 2024 with penalties, but he cleaned it up a lot in 2025. He's another guy that they may be interested in, like kind of. I've seen him 3rd round projections on him, which makes sense.
I think did he end up being a little bit slower? Wasn't there something that
Yeah, he might have been. Ran a 4. No, he ran a 4.45, so that's not too bad.
Okay, no, he's fine.
Yeah, he's 6'2", but he's right at that like 190 range, that cutoff that they usually like. But for a 6'2" guy, they actually probably would like him like 195 ish. So
Oh,
he
he
might be.
had a 34-inch vertical. That's what it
Maybe
was.
that's what it was.
That's not good.
Yeah. So I don't know. But I know that's a name that's been out there for a while. Packers fans mocking him there and putting him out there. I just, yeah, like you mentioned, the vertical, and he's a little grabby at times, and also like, is he heavy enough? Is he stocky enough at corner for their liking? So, but that's a name. I think other than that, I think we covered a pretty good amount of corners who they would look at.
Yeah, and again, the overall theme here is that there's some names here all the way through day 3 that if they're able to get these guys, it's an exciting name to have added to your room. In a room that needs some excitement, need a little competition, a little reason to be, buying another CB1 jersey.
Yeah, definitely add depth and raise the floor, but the competition, and they got to improve. Like you can't go all season with a Nixon and Valentine atop the depth chart. Like it's not good enough, and it wasn't good enough last year. Caught up to them finally. It's not good enough. So yeah, you got to get better there. And it stinks too. I don't know if I shouldn't say it stinks, but it's just like we didn't mention D'Angelo Pounds. We didn't mention the kid out of Miami. His name's
Keontae Scott.
Scott, yeah, because
he is one that I've kind of raised an eyebrow at. He's another one that I've heard projected as a safety too, though.
Yeah, maybe he's a safety, but I've seen him nickel. Pounds is definitely a nickel. It's just too small. But man, he's fun to watch. Pounds.
Yeah, he is fun to watch.
Man, he was awesome.
There's no way the Packers go that far.
No, and I get it. He's 5'8". He's small, and he's a nickel, and they have a nickel. It's not even that they have a nickel. It's just he wouldn't. Even if they didn't have a nickel, they wouldn't take Pounds. He's just too small for him, which I get it. But he was a fun player to watch at Indiana.
No doubt about it. Yeah, and that's why I didn't mention him. He is a fun player, and if for some reason they went outside of their characteristics and they picked him up, they were able to get him, that would be a great one. He'd be a fun one to watch for sure.
Yep.
And we'll bring some sauce to the room. That guy, he's a tackler. Yeah. He doesn't know how small he is. I know that. But yeah, so there's a lot of reasons to believe that the Packers not only could find somebody early in the draft here at the cornerback position, but they may come away with 3 corners out of this draft, because I think that there's a good shot that your corner is BPA at multiple points that you're going to be picking. And another one that I thought was interesting, I'm just now realizing this, using a shout out to Easton Butler using his list of visits here. Avion Terrell, they met with him. Oh, wait, sorry. That's under met with an unknown location. I thought that was under the 30 visit thing. It wasn't. All right. Excuse me. Pull that back. Did not have a 30 visit with Avion Terrell. They had an undisclosed location visit, which I don't think matters.
Yeah, probably at the combine or something.
Yeah, those don't seem to be nearly as impactful as the 30 visits.
They meet with everybody. So that's
right.
When they bring them up, that's the bigger ones to watch.
Right. So yeah, I think, again, point being, there's a lot here in this draft to be excited about. A lot of points where you could be rooting for a corner to be added to the room. It's going to make a difference in the room this coming season. And there's a lot of athleticism. The athleticism is really fun to see. We talked about that with the receivers too, but and I mean, really, there's been a lot of positions we talked about that. But the corners we talked, even the last guy that we brought up, we're just flying through them. I can't even remember the not Igbinosin. Oh, Styles, Lorenzo Styles. He says his RAS is 9.99 or 9.97 or something like that. He's like one of the most athletic cornerbacks to ever come out, and we're barely talking about this guy on day 3. Yeah. So there's just an athleticism for days throughout this draft. So there's a lot of reasons to be excited. Now, Tim, what do you think is going to happen at pick 52?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we can kind of narrow things down as far as like which position they're going to go to, because I think it's really I think it's narrow. I think it's gotten the possibilities. I don't think are real strong as far as them, as far as where they could go here. And so we eliminate quarterback. We eliminate tight end. I think they could take a tight end, but not at 52. I think that's a day 3 thing if they take a tight end. I don't think they're taking a safety, though maybe they take one, late day 3 is their special teams guy to replace Zane Anderson, or maybe they give, Jonathan Gannon one of these big nickels that can play nickel or safety or linebacker, like give him a toy, something like that, but not at 52. I don't see that happening. Running back would be the surprise one there, and I'm not completely ruling it out. I wouldn't be happy about it, but like they had the Mike Washington kid up from Arkansas. They had him up to Green Bay for a visit. I mean, his speed is awesome. He's got some really nice film. He doesn't really do anything at all in the passing game, which is scary. It would make me think that they wouldn't want to use a second-round pick on a player like that, but you never know. I think it would be him, or maybe if like Jadarian Price fell and they liked him enough. But I don't think it's going to be running back. I don't think it's going to be off-ball linebacker, though I think there's a few that could be there that are tempting to them. So that leaves cornerback, which we've talked about tonight and everybody's been talking about. Offensive line, edge rusher, defensive line or defensive tackle. And I think like to even narrow it down further, like I would be fine on offensive line. I have no issues with that, but I just don't know if there's a guy that's going to be a tackle that's going to be worth taking at 52, because I think they're all going to go well before 52. Tackles go quickly. So is there going to be somebody that they like at guard, even if it's a tackle that they project inside? Like, would they do that at 52 or take a pure guard only at 52? Like they've never really done that, right? Like they took Elton Jenkins in the second round, but he was like, he could play center, he could play guard, he could play tackle. Like they took him because of his versatility. I don't know if there's going to be a guy like that you would take at 52, maybe. And I don't think they're just going to like take a guy who's just a guard at 52. I don't see it. I think it's going to have to be somebody that's versatile along the offensive line at 52. So to me, I think it's either going to be a corner or a defensive lineman, whether that's an edge or a tackle. And if it's a tackle, I think it's going to be somebody that can rush the passer. Like I know Packers Twitter, Packers, online community, everybody loves Dominique Orange. I like him too, big citrus, but like I don't see them taking him at 52. Maybe at 84, maybe in the 4th round if he makes it that far, sure. But like he doesn't show you much as a pass rusher. And I don't see Green Bay using a 2nd round pick on a guy who's a first, second down player only, who's going to play, 15, 20 snaps a game at most as a rundown guy. Like I just don't see it. So I think if they take a defensive tackle, it's going to have to be somebody that can rush the passer. So it's going to be that position, or it's going to be edge, or it's going to be a corner. I'm pretty confident of that. Maybe an offensive lineman. Anything else would really surprise me at this point. And then you just narrow it down from there. And I think we did a pretty good job of who could be available at cornerback at that spot. Edge rushers, my guy's Danny Dennis Sutton. I hope he's there. I think he could be there. To me, that would be a great pick for him. But it could be one of the pass rushers, or it could be a defensive tackle that gives you some kind of pass rush, like a Christian Miller, who can do both, stop the run and give you pass rush. So that's where I'm thinking. It's a D lineman or it's a cornerback.
Yeah, I think I would definitely add offensive line to that mix there of it's a D lineman, it's an offensive lineman, or it's a cornerback. I don't think anywhere outside of that, unless my dream comes true of J-Rod falling. And then if J-Rod's there, you have to take him. He is a generational player. I hate throwing that term around. His instincts are generational. This man just is like a Jedi of linebackers. So if he is there, you take him. I don't think that's going to happen. I think NFL scouts know what's going on. I think that guy's going well before 52. So I really believe the way the board will fall is your best player available is either going to be a D lineman or a corner. I think there's an outside chance it could be a receiver. Like there could be a receiver there that you're just like, guys, like we shouldn't have a shot at this guy, but we do. And they'll do that.
I didn't mention.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're taking a receiver. I just think it might be from the third round on somewhere. But maybe it is. Maybe it's second. Maybe they just really like somebody and they're going to make a receiver their top pick for the second year in a row, which would be kind of crazy.
That would be wild. And that's also why I'm sitting here going, that could happen. Like I'm at this point where I've convinced myself the thing that I think just couldn't happen is the thing that's going to happen. But I'm going to let my fan bias step in and say, yeah, I think what you're going to have is you're going to have a really good interior offensive lineman drop, and they're going to have to take him. And, I don't know, maybe it's we talked about the interior O-line, Chase Bisantis from A&M is one that's in that range. Maybe you get, who's the big guy for Emmanuel Pregnon from Oregon drops down. I think you're going to have an O lineman there that you're going to be like, look, we got to plug this guy in and just completely shore up the offensive line. Don't put all your chips on Aaron Banks being what you hoped he was last year when you gave him all that money. Buy some Aaron Banks insurance. Just get a bully in the interior O-line. Maybe he's a dedicated center, but maybe, I don't know. I'm just thinking like that. I feel like is what's going to happen, or it's D-line. I think it's between those two. Corner. The reason that I think that they might not take a corner at 52 is I think that there's not a ton of difference between the value you can get at corner at 52 and the value you get at 83. So take that for what that's worth. I just don't think that there's somebody, again, unless there's somebody who falls, like if Chris Johnson's there, you're probably going, yeah, we got to take this.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he's going to be there. So that's the way I'm kind of looking at that, is going like the guys that are there. I think you're looking at probably like a D'Angelo Pons, where it's like, yeah, he's good, but he's not on our board because he doesn't meet our measurables, right? And I think that's what you're going to end up with. And then the guys that you're looking at that are behind a Pons, you're going, yeah, but we could get that same guy at 84, and so that's why I don't think you're going to end up with a corner there. D-line and O-line are probably, those are my highest probabilities. And, I'm, as far as I made some predictions on O-line there. As far as D-line goes, somebody who might be able to fall into that category. You mentioned Big Citrus. As far as the consensus goes, he's a little bit further past that 52 pick anyway. But, somebody who's right there in that range. I know Malachi Lawrence as an edge rusher that a lot of people have been very excited about. I don't think that they'll be tempted to take an edge rusher. I really feel like as far as the pass rush position goes, I don't feel like they need or feel the need to throw premium picks at that. Like, that's one where, again, like you probably get some good value like they did last year in the 4th or 5th round. You got Sorrell last year. I just don't think that you're looking at your pass rushers right now going, we have to get somebody at the top of this draft.
I think if you're not taking them early, then I don't know if they take them at all, because they might look at Sorrell and Cox and Oliver and be like, we're just going to work with these guys. Like, I don't know if there's a day 3 guy that's really going to jump those guys in the depth chart. Maybe push them in depth and stuff. But like, if you really want to increase your pass rush, I think you got to take it in the 2nd or 3rd round. So to me, I still think it's a need on the team, especially, I mean, Parsons, if he misses 3 or 4 games, it's not the end of the world. But like, your top pass rusher is Lucas Van Ness when he's out. Like, that scares me. And, we haven't seen Lucas Van Ness put it together yet. And are we finally going to see that, or is this what he is? And I think Sorrell is going to be better in year 2. Not that he was bad or anything. As a rookie, I think we'll see him like continue to make development. But yeah, to me, if the pass rusher is the best player on the board right there, you absolutely got to take him. Like, I still think it's a need. You never can go wrong by taking a pass rusher. You can always use pass rushers, and I don't trust what they have other than Parsons.
That's fair. based on how they've gone into the season with some different positions, I don't know that they agree with you, Tim.
I know.
We did see them go into the season last year with the cornerback room in the shape that it was.
I know. I think they're going to believe
Hobbs, they probably had more optimism about, but again, like there's been some times where we're over here going, I don't know, and they're like, oh yeah, we got this, it's fine.
And that's what I think they think about their edge rushers. Like I think they believe in
Right.
their guys more than we do, or more than I do. So I don't agree with it, but that's probably how they view it.
But that's why I just don't think that you'll have that. I don't know. And I'm looking here around the board, like who's a guy in that position that they're going to just have to take at 52. And I know your guy, Danny Dennis Sutton, you're saying, I don't know if he's a have to pick there. And I don't know if they would see him as that. Right.
They should.
Hey, we're talking about, betting on traits. He's a guy you're betting on traits there. And I don't disagree. He's got size, he's got athleticism. I don't disagree. I don't know that I feel like it just doesn't feel like it, right? It doesn't feel like that urgency is there at the position and that he's the one forcing that pick. But I'm kind of looking ahead of the board, like who's in the range in like the 30s and 40s that you wouldn't expect to fall, but if they did, would force your hand. And even there, I'm looking at like maybe a Zion Young. If a Zion Young's there, do you have to draft him or a Mason Thomas? I don't know. Like even those guys, I'm like maybe. But that's why I think it comes down to it the positions that will probably force their hand as best player available in that position at 52 is going to be D-line or O-line. The one that probably sticks out to me, and this is just my wishful thinking, I think, is Kristen Miller. If he finds his way to 52, it's just like, yeah, you got to take him. Like that's the pick, man. And he brings a little bit of both of what we're talking about, right? He gives you a little bit of pass rush, definitely gives you a little bit more of a depth at the D-line position. But yeah, that's kind of the way I see it. So let's jump in here. We got a few minutes. Let's just do it. Let's do the thing and play the mock draft game. Let's get this going. We'll make our predictions on based on how the board falls here. Rules are simple, right? We got it all nice and set up. We're going to do the Packers for 7 rounds here. We can do this quick. We're not going to do all the other teams. We'll let them figure their own mess out. Let's see here. Should we use the PFF big board? Should we use what other boards can we? I've never experienced using a different board before, so I don't know what those other boards are. We're just going to use the PFF big board. And I know PFF's a big bad company. They made terrible decisions this year. I get it. We're not supporting them in any way. We're just using the tool that they've created because we don't have another one that we've tried. We being me. I'm not blaming this on Tim either. All right. I think everything's set there. We got, positional value, needs, got randomness. Keep randomness low. We don't need a ton of randomness. Let's jump into this thing. All right. Round 1. Let's see here. Start the draft. What do we got? We're not making any trades. We're just getting to 52 here. Look at that. A guard right at the top of the board there. So, Tim, I'm going to make a case for the guard here. I want the guard. I want Chase Bisontis. I really want Eli Stowers, but I don't think that's the responsible pick. Are you pounding the table here for your edge rusher and getting Malachi Lawrence?
Well, let's see who else is if Keelan Rutledge is there, I take him over Bisontis anyway at guard. What do we have?
Rutledge here. I don't see you got your boy Sutton there. Dennis Sutton's there. There's Rutledge, but he's not at 74. He might be available at 83.
Well, we're going by PFF boards. I think Rutledge is just better. I would go Dennis Sutton. I would see is Christian Miller there because I'm with you. I think he could be the pick.
I don't believe he is.
Sense.
So let's see here. Can we filter by position? There it is. D-line. So Grayson Halton is one that I know people have been a fan of. Dominic Orange, Daryl Jackson. Those are the guys that are available there that might not be there at 83 on your next pick. I don't think I'm taking any of those guys at 52.
Who's that corner?
All right, the top corners we have available here are Keontae Scott, Traden Stukes, Davison Igbinosun.
You got two. You got two positions.
Oh, I got two of them on
those
there. Get
defensive
that out
linemen
of there. Get D line out of there.
Okay, so Everett's in there. You like Everett a lot.
I like Everett. I don't like
Don't like
Everett
him
at 52.
I'm with you. Malik Muhammad, he's under the weight that they like.
I don't think there's any of these DBs here that we're taking at 52.
I would take an edge rusher. That's just me.
And then so just throw safety in there in case there's any. No, there's not an outlier. All right, so Tim's pounding the table for the edge rusher. Is your edge rusher is Danny Dennis Sutton though, not Malachi Lawrence?
Yeah, I like
right?
Dennis Sutton better.
All right. Does
actually
the chat have a tiebreaker for us here? Because I want to take the guard. All right. Our buddy Chris says Groot doesn't draft guards, right?
Right. He's right. I mean, I don't think he's going to take a guard only at 52. Maybe on day 3 somewhere, but not at 52.
So then let's get down to this. Do you think that the Packers value or have Malachi Lawrence higher on their board than Danny Dennis Sutton?
That's a good question. I don't think so. Just because Dennis Sutton's a little bigger, and I think he's got that potential to get bigger. He tested extremely well. And I just like, if you look at the comparables to like his testing numbers, his college production at a Big Ten school compared to like past players, I know that names like Daniel Hunter were in there and Robert Quinn, and those were like some of his comparables. Like that's a pretty good player that you could get at 52. So I think they're going to like him more because he gives you a little more size. He gives you more production coming out of a bigger school. And I think he's a better player right now. I think Lawrence might be good, but like Lawrence, I view him as like, he's mostly just a designated pass rusher at this point.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're going to overlook the cornerback position here. We're going to overlook my guy, Traden Stukes. I'm not pounding the table for Stukes. I do want him, but I think this is tough for me. I don't know. They might take Stukes in that position. Now I'll concede to you, Tim. We're going to go Danny Dennis Sutton at 52. All right. Here we go. Now we're down at 84. Now we got at 84, Kamari Ramsey's at the top of the board, safety from USC. You got Chandler Rivers, a cornerback, but probably too small for the Packers. The player here next, Sam Hecht, center from Kansas State. This is probably the guy that I want with this. Well, Jake Slaughter's down there. So it's probably for me between Jake Slaughter and Sam Hecht with this pick.
Everett's still there too.
Yeah. Everett is still there. Dalen Everett, cornerback for Georgia, still there at 84.
Who we got?
And let's see, who else are we messing with?
Defensive tackle.
So we got Rayshon Benny from Michigan available at defensive tackle. Looks like he's our top guy available. And then you got to go pretty far down. Dante Corleone is the next one. I don't think he doesn't seem like a Packers guy to me. He was down there at the Shrine Bowl. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy they would go for. Not very athletic.
Oh, Caleb Proctor, they had in for a visit. I know he's a pass
Proctor's
rusher.
An interesting one.
Yeah. And I know that, and the receiver right after him,
Deshaun.
Yeah, he fits the prototype at receiver for them too.
Yes, I've seen him. He deserves an honorable mention from our receiver episode because we didn't talk about him much. No. His blocking is nasty.
Yep.
Talk about a bully. That's a guy I would not mind seeing. Our next pick. Where's our next pick? 120. Stribling might be there at 120. It's possible. Okay. I don't know who. Let's see here. Like I said, I think I'm going Slaughter on this pick. I think I want Jake Slaughter. He's a awesome center. A lot of snaps. Played a lot of ball. Give me that guy. Kind of like your Why Corey Linsley, that's going to be my center for 10 years. Lock him down.
I mean, I'll let you have it. Let me have the last one.
There's nobody here that you really got to fight me on?
I would want to see what's available at corner and defensive tackle. But like
let's
I wouldn't
take
take
corner position.
I'm not taking a center there.
Now we got Chandler Rivers, Devin Moore. We really haven't talked much about Devin Moore.
Yeah, he's got good size, but he's been hurt a lot. I know that.
Got good size. Quick brush at his numbers. Completion percentage against him is 56.7, not bad. Run defense grade 81.8, not bad. How many touchdowns did he give up? Only gave up 2 touchdowns last year, 2 interceptions. Passer rating against him is 70, not bad. So yeah, he's a solid guy, but injury issues. Good size. I didn't catch his raw score. I just haven't heard him associated with the Packers as much.
No.
Dalen Everett is there. He's one that you might take with this pick as, just assuming he's not going to be there at 120. Probably not a bad value pick there. Another guy that's available there right now, Will Lee III, who the Packers did have in for a visit. You go a little further down, they got Charles Demings down there, but he's one that looks like he might be available there at 120. Takario Davis. So yeah, I mean, there's some guys here that are not bad. Malik Muhammad, I know, is one that people have liked. I just don't know who. Again, there's nobody here that I'm going, gotta have that guy. And this is what's starting to worry me. If they don't get their DB early, when do you get your first DB?
It's forcing you to take. It's forcing you to take them. Like, even if you don't want to be forced, you want to be able to take the best one available, right? Like,
right.
And now if we're not gonna take one here, then we definitely got to take one in the 4th
They're at
round.
120. Who's there? Yeah, and then you're starting to really slide down the list. Now Julian Neal is down there. He's a guy that we've said we like.
Yeah. I mean, we could.
So you're not totally out of options. Price Hawk is down there as well. So I don't know, man. This is tough because I do really want to solidify the interior O-line. I have a real hard time telling what the Packers here would have higher on their board. So, man, I think you do have to go get Everett here. I think you gotta avoid the injury issues with Moore. You've dealt with that too much. You need to go get Everett. He's got a lot of ball played. He's been reliable from that perspective, as far as being available. Yeah, I want Slaughter, but I think Everett's you have to go get a corner. Are we taking Everett here?
I'm taking Everett.
We're taking Everett. All right, here we go. Taking Everett. On to 120. Let's see here. Who can we figure out? Oh, all right. Now I think we can take our defensive tackle here too. Now this is just me. I don't know that he even is going to be in the Packers' interest because of his size and all that. But Landon Robinson is available here, and a lot of people want to call him the next Aaron Donald. I'm in on that lottery ticket. I want to buy that one. But who else we got here?
I mean, he's available because it's this sport. Like, in actual NFL, he's going to be available well into day 3. Like,
you think so? You think his height and his size works against him?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got at the top of the board, Carson Beck, doesn't matter. We're not taking a quarterback there. You got Bud Clark, safety out of TCU. He's an interesting one. Had a really strong Senior Bowl. I
think we'd have to look at defensive tackle. And if you want an offensive lineman, I kind of like I don't know if he's been picked. I'm not seeing him, but Trey Zune from Texas A&M, because he can play like all over the field. He was a tackle, but he's going to be inside. I don't think he's up right on the board. Has him.
So as far as interior O-line goes, we got Bo Steffens available right now. I know he's one that has been mocked to the Packers a lot. Yager Burton is another one.
Good.
Very good fit for the Packers there.
Can you check offensive tackle?
Let's check out the tackles that are available. We're at pick 120 right now in our mock draft. So we got Brian Parker. Now he's listed as a tackle, but projects as interior. Oh, and there's Zune. So you got Brian Parker projects as interior O-line, got a lot of snaps at center at the Shrine Bowl. So probably not going to be a tackle, and definitely an option for the Packers. I think he's one of those, his versatility. You were mentioning Trey Zune. He's one that, is he projected to be a tackle, or is he one that you think they'll slide into the interior?
He'll probably go inside, but he's got a lot of experience. He could be one of those guys where the Packers are going to play him all over, and maybe he might get a shot at tackle and they just leave him there. But most likely he's going to be a guard or a center. But he's got the versatility of Zach Tom or Elton Jenkins. He's one of those dudes that's going to potentially play all over. Not saying he's going to be as good as Jenkins or Tom, but he's a Packer offensive lineman with the versatility.
Yeah, right.
And he has a ton of game experience at Texas A&M too.
So those are some solid options there on the O-line that are available. Let's check out what's available at. Let's see, it's available at receiver here real quick. So you still have Reggie Virgil, Eric McAllister, Jacoby Lane. I know is one that has been talked about a lot. I don't think anybody here is demanding to be picked at 120. You were saying running back is one that they might be looking at. Now you got Nick Singleton, another one of your Penn State guys there. Emmett Johnson, Seth McGowan. I don't think any of these guys are forcing them to pick them at 120. So let's go on over to the D-line here. So we mentioned Landon Robinson. You got Chris McClellan. I don't think we've talked much about him. Take a look at his size. He's 6'4", 323. He graded pretty well last season. He didn't really have a bad game, which is a good sign. 5 sacks, 5 hits. Let's see here. Played largely in the B gap. Run stop grade run defense grade 75.2, pretty solid. And he's got a solid pass rush grade. I mean, it's a low or a high floor kind of guy right there. So Chris McClellan might be a solid pick there at 120 for you on the interior D line.
Yeah, and the Capehart kid from Clemson's pretty good run stuffing too.
Let's see here. So DeMonte Capehart, we got him at 6'5", 315. Got that classic big size. 2025, he had 1 sack, 3 hits, 7 hurries. So not a ton of hurries. You probably want to see more than that.
Yeah,
run defense grade is solid.
He's just a run guy.
74.5. No, and he only had 2 maybe less than good games, but he's got a lot of green on this chart here for the games that he's played. So a consistent player for sure. And with that size, yeah, I mean, that's another guy. I don't know about his athleticism, but he definitely seems like could be a good value there at that 120 pick on the D line. So yeah, this kind of feels to me like this may be. I'm looking at some of these others. I don't think anybody down there is.
I think it's got to be an offensive lineman or a defensive tackle.
Let's take a look at the edge real quick. Tyreek Sapp still available. He's one that had a really good 2024, not as good in 2025. He was higher on boards before, wasn't he?
Maybe. I don't know.
Tyreek Sapp was higher on the going even in projecting the. Oh no, he's 6'2", 240, 274. That size, the Packers wouldn't take him. And then you got Mason Rager available. I've kind of raved about him a little bit. He had a really strong Shrine Bowl. That was a lot of fun to watch. He's one that I don't know. I mean, Packers haven't drafted a lot of Badgers, so maybe not who you're looking at there. I think here you're going defensive tackle. Oh, clicked offensive tackle there. I say give me Chris McClellan here. I think I don't know much about him, but his consistency looks really strong and graded out strong stats and good size. What do you think, Tim? Can we go with Chris McClellan here?
Sure, if you want to. I don't know much about him, so
don't know a ton about him. We're passing on Tim Keenan.
Yeah,
he's been talked about more, but he doesn't look as impressive. I'm going to go Chris McClellan here. All right, now we're on to pick 153. Now we're getting into the real meat here of the draft. So let's do a quick catch up on our picks here. So we got Danny Dennis Sutton at 52. We got Dalen Everett at 84. And we got Chris McClellan at 120. So we've addressed a lot on the defense here. Let's see who is around on the O-line. Let's just light up both of these here and see how we're looking. So we've got Isaiah World, tackle out of Oregon, available here.
I know he's hurt, so probably cross him off.
Oh, is he hurt?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, they're probably not going to be dealing with injuries. Diego Pounds out of Ole Miss. Doesn't look like he's graded all that well. Played a lot of left tackle, exclusively left tackle, it looks like. 0 sacks allowed in 2025. It's a good sign. 13 hurries and 3 hits. Looks like a solid player. What kind of size are we looking at? 6'6", 335. He's on the bigger side, so they probably would want that or value that. So Diego Pounds could be an option here. If you're looking for just a guard and a true interior O-lineman, you got Jeremiah Wright available. Looks like he got primarily all of his snaps in college, with the exception of a few at right guard, got a few at left guard. No tackle snaps, no center snaps. Fairly consistent. Looks like he had a bad game against Ball State, which is concerning, but the rest of the season's fairly consistent. Not an elite player, but a solid player.
Why don't we go Pounds here? Because Brugler's got him 121.
Okay, so if we're getting a guy on Brugler's list at 121 at pick 53, that's a lot of value. So we're going Pounds here. We're going to go get another tackle that we project inside.
Yeah, he's a big dude. 6'6", 325, 330 range.
Okay. Here we go. We're going with Pounds. Let's see here. Hang on a second. What do we got in the chat? K-Part, 99 RAS. I missed that.
Yeah, that was the defensive tackle back when he had McClellan.
And he's
K-Part
he's
there.
still
No,
there.
he's still there. Take him now.
Are we going back-to-back D-line here?
Wait, I thought you just took Pounds.
No, I didn't take Pounds.
Oh, okay.
We're going back-to-back D-tackle? Do we have enough room in the room for that?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, here we go.
You don't have to. I would be fine with going either way. I would go either O-line or D-line here, but up to you.
I'm going to go O-line here because I am just like, I want the O-line to be better, because if the O-line is better, the rest of the offense is going to be better. Okay. And I don't know that you have enough room in the D-line room for another body after you've already taken one. So we're going Pounds here. We're going to take Pounds. All right. Who do we have left? Now we're at pick 160, just a few picks back. Shoot, you might get K-Part still. Is he still out there? Nope, we lost him. All right. So here on the overall board, you still got Isaiah World at the top. We're not going to mess with him because he got injury issues. You got running back Jaden Ott from Oklahoma available.
Price Hawk is there at corner.
Okay, so let's go to just the corner board. We got Price Hawk at the top of the corner board. Julian Neal available. Yeah, you're probably taking one of those guys, right?
I would take one of them, and then you're set at corner.
So let's see here. Who we taking? Price Hawk's got an 87.2 passer rating against him and a 57.5 completion percentage against him. Let's take a look at Neal. Very similar. Wow. Okay. Neal's got 2 interceptions. How many interceptions did Price Hawk have? What are we going to base this decision on here, Tim? How are we breaking this tie?
Brugler's got Neal much higher. He's got I shouldn't say much higher. Neal's 122. Price Hawk is 146.
Ooh, 122. That's good value. Let's go get Julian Neal. I know he's been a favorite on some of the other Packers mocks. So let's go get Julian Neal. We got him. Now we're going to drop down to pick 201 in the draft here. We're getting deeper into this thing to figure out who the future Packers are going to be. And right off the bat, I see Lorenzo Styles staring at me with his 9.9 RAS score. Do we dare go another DB back to back? Who are we looking at here, Tim? You want to go back to D line? What do we go see what we do in the edge room?
No, I don't think there's going to be. How about let's see what we got at.
Hang
let's
on
see what receiver.
Let me see. Harold Perkins. Harold Perkins Jr. is available. Now, he's one that I talked about. He ran a 4.38 40 at his pro day for a 6'1", 222 guy. So, I mean, he's basically a safety size. He's played linebacker, and he's as fast as a corner. So that's a fun one if we're going athleticism. What position do you want here?
Let's see receiver.
Receiver, see what we got here, because we do have room for a receiver. Some interesting names available. Xavier Thomas, Tyron Montgomery had a very, very good Senior Bowl there. Kendrick Law, Dane Key. Let's see. Colby Young and Noah Thomas. Interesting Georgia receivers. Colby Young has a big frame from what I remember.
All right.
Yeah, 6'4", 215.
I don't like any of them. So the other position, we could look at tight end. We could look at.
See what's at tight end. So at tight end, we got Tanner Koziel. Oscar Delp's still available. I know he's one that's getting a little bit more attention. I actually really liked what I saw on film when I was watching him too. I don't know that you're begging to take him at 201 here, though.
Okay. They want to look at running back?
He only had one touchdown in 2025. Let's see what running backs are available here. Again, at pick 201, our first pick of the 6th round, our only pick of the 6th round right now. At running back, you've got Eli Heidenreich from Navy, Desmond Reed from Pitt, Robert Henry Jr. from UTSA. Roman Hemby is one that is interesting. He's still on the board. I know he's kind of a popular name from Indiana. Seems like he could be a good addition to the Packers. Strong. He's really got strong experience. I mean, going back to 2023, got pretty good PFF grades, got a lot of snaps. Little over 600 yards each in 2023 and 2024, and then had 1,100 yards in 2025. 7 touchdowns. Well, he does. His stats don't jump off the screen at you, but as far as consistency goes, he's got it. So he's an interesting.
We got to move this along. So
yeah, right. This is gonna be our longest episode. All right. So pick 201. We really have to overanalyze this because it's a very important pick. I'm just gonna pound the table for the athlete. Give me Lorenzo Styles, man. Give me the 999 mass score. Let me have it. We're gonna do something cool with him. I don't know what it'll be. All right, we are into the 7th round now. Here at the top of the board, we got our guy Domani Jackson that we talked about. Good pedigree, not great production. Maybe has the tools that an NFL coach could use, though. Somebody else worth noting here that I'm seeing, Taylon Green. I've heard him associated with the Packers later in the draft as sort of their next project.
Let's go O-line or D-line again. Do we take?
Let's see.
No, we only have one D-line. I would go D-line again. Or
let's see who we got down here in the D-line.
So Vandenberg visited with them.
Oh, he did. Okay, so Vandenberg visited.
Yeah, and he's got like almost a perfect RAS score. So
he's 6'3", 310. Plenty big. Pretty consistent, it looks like. Played a lot of games as well over the last 3 seasons. Let's see here. 3 sacks last season, 5 hits, 21 hurries. That's a good number. 21 hurries is a good number. Let's see here. Any kind of obvious knocks on him? Nothing right out of the gate. Looks like he's primarily in the B gap. Run defense grade is solid, 81.2. So yeah, Vandenberg's a strong player. I think at this point in the draft, probably a good addition. James Thompson Jr. had a really strong Shrine Bowl. He's a big guy that's got a lot of explosion in his game. What do you think here? Oneidem, he was also at the Shrine Bowl. I know he was spoken pretty highly of as far as an interior guy goes. Very consistent, it looks like.
I would just go Vandenberg because he came there for a visit. So
for the visit. There it is. All right. And then the final pick of the draft for the Green Bay Packers. Let's see here. We got a couple quarterbacks at the top, a running back. Let's see what receivers are out there real quick. The only one up here that I think might be Dylan Bell. He had some decent production. Oh, wait, no. What was I thinking?
There was one you scrolled over that was a visit too.
He's not the one. One of the receivers?
Yeah, Anthony Smith from East Carolina. He was
right here. He's deep down there. Let's see here.
Yeah, he's like a pure speed guy.
He had 1,000 yards last season, 16.5 yards per catch, 7 touchdowns. Okay, that's solid. Let's see what's his size. 6'3", 190, so kind of a skinny 6'3". You could probably beef him up a little bit. I bet you said he's fast, so being fast at 6'3" is pretty good. I don't know if I'm taking him there, though. That's probably a UDFA. Who else we got? Got a lot of quarterbacks down here. We got didn't Ethan Onianwa? Isn't this guy one that went in there for the Packers? Went on a visit.
Yeah, I believe so. Offensive lineman.
6'7", 331. Jeez, he's huge. Didn't play much for Ohio State. You said it was an injury issue, wasn't it?
That I don't know. I think he was like a transfer, and then he just got beat out for his job, I believe. Yeah, he was a visitor.
Yeah, he was a transfer.
But he's like, he's definitely a UDFA based on consensus ratings.
Well, he's pretty high at the top of this list. Hang on a second. Let me make sure that my guy Perkins isn't available, because if you got a 4-3 linebacker sitting there, okay, he's gone. Yeah, so let's not overthink this. Let's take our
right there. If you go back to linebacker, there was another Packer visit, Duggar.
Oh, Jaden Duggar. Yeah, you know what? That's one that a lot of people like. He also was at the Shrine Bowl. Big dude. Yeah, we'll take Jaden Duggar there. How about that? Why the heck not? All right, let's see what grade we get. Ooh, they did not like your pick, Tim.
Of course they didn't. They don't know. I don't care what PF is.
All right, it's our one and only mock draft here. You guys can screenshot this in all of its glory if y'all are still hanging out with us at 11 o'clock Central here. We've gone pretty late, but it's okay because the draft is coming up this week. We got a lot of stuff to be excited about. And, if the draft goes this way, I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it at all. I know a lot of people don't like, going outside of consensus and all that, but I think if the draft went this way, I'd be pretty happy with it. I think we'd have a lot to be excited about. So this would be an interesting one. But again, if you guys are just listening, not watching, we got our mock draft here. We'll run through the picks. At 52, we went with Danny Dennis Sutton. 84, we got Dalen Everett, cornerback out of Georgia. You got at 120, round 4, Chris McClellan, defensive tackle out of Missouri. Round 5, pick 153. We got Diego Pounds, tackle out of Ole Miss. Maybe push him into interior O-line. Round 5, at pick 160, we got Julian Neal, cornerback out of Arkansas. Round 6, pick 201, we got Lorenzo Styles Jr., DB out of Ohio State, insanely fast. We got round 7, 236. We got Jordan Vandenberg, D-line out of Georgia Tech, and then the final pick of the Packers draft, round 7, 255. Linebacker, Jaden Duggar out of Louisiana. A lot of athleticism here, a lot of size here, a lot of potential here in this draft. So I think I'd be all right with it. Certainly we could argue about it. Fortunately, this week it's happening, so we don't have to think about it anymore. We get to see how the Packers do it. And this time next week, we will be dissecting all the picks, getting into it, and getting excited about future Packers, right, Tim?
That's right. Looking forward to it. We've got a lot of picks coming in Friday and Saturday, so we'll have a lot to discuss next week.
So tune in, Packers fans. Even tune in Thursday, because there's not a 0% chance that the Packers pick on Thursday. Just to be clear, they could trade into the first round. Don't miss it. It could happen. Probably not. But anyway, have fun. Watch the draft. Come on back next week while we pick apart all the newest Packers that get drafted, maybe even some UDFAs. And we're gonna have a lot of fun talking about the 2026 Packers season coming up. So thank y'all for hanging with us on this now, I think, our longest episode of the Pack Weekly Pod, because we threw that mock draft in there at the end because it's the only one we do all season long. And so appreciate you guys for hanging with us. And come on back next week. If you guys are still hanging out, spike that like button, subscribe to the Packers Talk Network YouTube channel. And of course, as always, go Pack, go!